In the past 30 days, I've made almost $170,000, which is almost the full cost of this car. This is here my terminal P&L right here from all the trades that I've taken, all the trades that I've called out here over the last 30 days. So $169,000. This car cost me about $215,000. Bought it a couple months ago. The Porsche GT4 RS, a 2025. I'm going to show you in this video some of the things I like about this car and some of the things that I don't really like about it that much too, because it is kind of a pain in the butt sometimes. Then after this, we're going to go to the charts. I'm going to actually show you some of the trades that I've taken here over the past few weeks that has allowed me to buy this car. And I have 4 cars right now. This is just one of them. We'll have to do videos about those at some other time. So check it out. We spec'd it out full black. We did the Weissach package, so that way it gives the carbon fiber hood, carbon fiber accents around like the side and the little vent, and then also the mirrors and the rear wing is carbon fiber. Super, super clean, super sexy. It all kind of blends in together. I went with yellow accents on the car, including Porsche carbon ceramic brakes, so that way I can stop this thing if I'm driving a little bit too spirited. We did yellow decals on it, so GT4 RS decals. The car's a little bit dirty right here because I actually drive it. I don't keep it parked in the garage all the time. I drive this thing almost every day. It's so much fun. We did yellow accents inside. We'll show that here in a second. Same thing back here on the glass. We got a Porsche little banner right there. We've got the decals here. I got a custom license plate frame because, as you guys all know, I'm very mature and I like to really make sure that I'm showing everyone that I'm very professional and that, you know, I don't really joke around a lot here on the channel because we're very serious here. And the rest of this car is just pretty much murdered out, just like black and yellow. So as we take a look at the inside right here, you can see we've got black Alcantara. It's the Race Tech stuff from Porsche. It's contrasted with the yellow seats. So it's got the yellow seat belts that it's contrasted with. We've got the yellow fabric door pulls, yellow race marker here on the steering wheel. So my favorite thing about this car, favorite thing at the top of the list, I think it's the perfect chassis. It's not too big, it's not too small. It's got a nice mid-engine layout, which I think is just the way that God intended a supercar to be made. Like, God, thank you. If you don't consider this a supercar because it has a 6-cylinder engine, I completely understand you. But this right here, it drives so perfectly. It's so perfectly balanced. It handles amazing. It is like a symphony, like a fighter jet engine behind you as you're driving this thing. And the engine is shrieking like a banshee all the way up to 9,000 RPM when it's revving. So my favorite part about this car is just that it's so much fun to drive. It's, in my opinion, like the best car that's ever been made at this point in time. Porsche have continued to take the same vehicle and just reiterate on it over and over to get it to just be perfect. I love the way it looks. I love the way it handles. It's not like crazy slow and it's not crazy fast, right? It's like just the perfect combination of everything. So if you're a driver and you like actually driving your cars and going around corners and stuff, in my opinion, there's not much that's better than this. It doesn't really get much better than this. I love the 911s. I love the 3RS, the GT3. Those are amazing cars. I just think they've gotten a little bit too big now. They're more like kind of like touring cars. I like that this one's a little bit smaller, more compacted. It's what 911 used to be, which is a smaller, fun sports car that you can really throw around kind of like a go-kart. And this thing completely lives up to its name here. This thing was designed for racing. It was designed for performance, and it delivers on every single aspect and category that you would want in a car that allows you to be able to have so much fun driving it. It looks good, it sounds good, and it feels good to drive. Those are my favorite parts about it. Now, let's get into the parts that are not my favorite about it. Here's my first non-favorite part about it. So if you're driving this thing every day, I don't recommend the carbon fiber sport bucket racing seats. And here's why. You look kind of retarded getting into it every single time. I'm gonna show you right here. This is after a couple months of doing this. So I go like this. And that wasn't even that bad, but you kind of have to stumble into it every time because it's got all these bolsters. Now it keeps you in place and it keeps you nicely planted, but the shitty part about this is that it is really, really uncomfortable. It's hard to get in and out of. And then aside from the fact that it looks cool and it's very functional, it's just kind of a pain in the ass to live with on a daily basis. So if I were gonna spec this car again, honestly, I think I would probably just go for the regular adjustable seats that come in like some of the like regular Caymans and stuff like that. I think I'd probably do that if I were to go around the next time. So now watch what it's like whenever I'm trying to get out of this thing. I have to kind of put my hand here, put my hand on the side, get one foot out, try to get above this thing, pull myself out, and then stumble out and then dust myself off and like put band-aids over all the bruises and cuts I got as I was getting out of it. So getting in and out of this thing, like I said, not a big deal if you've got the regular sport seats, but if you've got the bucket seats, it just becomes a little bit harder to do it. So that's the first thing I find kind of a pain about this car. Second thing that I don't love the most about this car, some of you will consider this being nitpicky, kind of a, you know, win some, you lose some. This back glass right here does not have a cover over this portion right here. which would conceal the stuff that you would otherwise want to put in the trunk of your car. So you can't really put anything back here where it would be air conditioned and temperature maintained underneath that little black shade that they have in most of the other Caymans. You'd have to put it in the front, which is not very temperature maintained. And so it's just kind of one of those things where I'm like, okay, everybody can see everything you put in the back. So it pretty much ruins the utilization of the back trunk. I put a little towel over everything just so you don't see it, but it would have been cool if Porsche had that little piece that goes over it so that way it covers the stuff in the back. The cool part about this glass though is that you can see the engine right here. And of course this one with the Weissach package, it's got the carbon fiber engine cover and everything. So it does look really cool that you can literally just look through the back glass of your car and see your engine right there. The final thing that I find just a little bit not fun about this car is the cup holder situation. Now listen, the person in my situation in life, you really value having good cup holders. You know, it is really a flex to be able to have good cup holders in sports cars. And Porsche, they've over-engineered this amazing cup holder design system, and it looks cool and it is functional, but the problem is, it just sucks. Here's why it sucks. Whenever you put a drink in here, if the drink is too long, like on the bottom, then it will not be able to like be housed in here because it'll stick way out to the top. So you can't put like big tumblers or anything. Also, this doesn't open up that much. So if you have a bigger drink right here, it just won't fit. And then you have to worry about it constantly falling off because it doesn't go down very far. So unless you have like a really small can of something, it really doesn't work that well. And also on top of that, if it spills over the driver's side, right? If it sloshes around and spills, it's right over your actual like infotainment and gear selector and all the controls for the air conditioning. So I just find that to be kind of funny that Porsche chose to do that. I would have much considered them to have like what they have in the new 911s, the 992s, where they've got the cup holder right there in the center. That would have been really cool. If it was an option, you know, I would have gotten that one. Now, another thing that I actually love about this car is, let's go around here, I'll show you. This right here. An actual key to the car. Now, a lot of people, they want a key fob that you can just walk up to the car and it automatically senses that it's gonna open the door for you. I myself, I like pulling this out. I like clicking the button and it unlocks the doors and then I get in. And then what you can do in here, once you're inside right here, you hop in and then you take your key and then you actually fit it right here up into this left side, right? They do this as a homage to Porsche's pedigree. Whenever they were racing, they would be able to just reach in the driver's side window to start their car, and it was easier because it was on the left side. So Porsche have kept that. You get in here and you actually have to put the key in. You know, you have to actually have the full experience here, and then you twist it and turn it on and listen to the sound of this thing starting. It is an absolutely beautiful sound of a naturally aspirated 6-cylinder engine, and Porsche has done such an amazing job. This thing has almost the same amount of horsepower as a GT3. Porsche swears it's just because they had to do something with the exhaust of the muffler and it's a little bit closer to the engine, but honestly, this thing having right at around just under 500 horsepower and that sound of that engine right behind you and the exhaust right here, it just sounds absolutely insane. Another cool part about here that I love, I'm really into sounds while I'm driving because I have an EV. I have a 2025 Tesla Model 3 Performance. That thing is so much fun. Got crazy performance. It's just as fast as this thing. However, it's kind of like dancing with the music off. There's no sound, so it's like you lose a little bit of the element. This, you've got the air intake vent right behind your head. So when you look in here, you can actually see the carbon fiber air intake vent right there, and it just whistles like as it's doing the intake for the air coming into the actual engine. It sounds so crazy, it sounds so cool. And then on top of that, you've got like the engine right behind you in addition to the whistling for the intake, and you've got the exhaust coming out the back. It's an absolute joy to drive. So those are the things that I like and the things that I don't really like that much about the GT4 RS. So what we need to talk about now is, this is all fine and dandy, but if you've ever wanted to have a car like this, and you want to know how I got a car like this, I got a car like this through Forex trading. So Forex crypto and stock trading, I've been doing it for like the past decade. I've made millions of dollars in Forex crypto and stocks, and it's allowed me to have multiple cars throughout the past half a decade that are just like this, that are so much fun to drive, that are so insane and so rare and special and exclusive. It really is fun to be able to have something like this, and I love driving them. Like they're literally, it's like going on vacation every day. You get to do something fun every day whenever you have a car like this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually look at some of the trades that I took that have allowed me to make enough money to literally have almost bought this car in cash just from the past 3-4 weeks of trading. I'm gonna show you some of those trades and we're gonna get into it. All right, so since we actually shot that last part of the video you just saw, there was actually some more trades that got closed. So there were these two trades right here. which was a Euro USD sell for a loss, and then a Euro JPY sell for a profit, which brings the total P&L up to now from $169 to $175,000 before swaps and commissions, just over the course of the past 30 days. So this right here, this is a group where I call my trades at. You can't join this group right now. We've reached our sort of member capacity. We like to work with a little under 100 clients at a time. I'm going to reopen it though here shortly, so I'll post a link somewhere. For now, it'd be better if you just follow my free Telegram channel. I'm going to put a link in the description. I'll actually make it the first link in the description, but it's just a free channel where I share my trades at. So I post my trades, I post analysis, I post the results in here, and it's all just designed to help you have a real simplified way of learning the way that I trade. So that way you can follow the same sort of simple setups, and I just post little updates and recaps. So this is a free Telegram channel that I've run for probably the past 7.5 years, maybe a little over 7 years. And it kind of gives you everything you need just to kind of get off the ground running with exactly how I trade. So yeah, but we'll be closing up the group probably today or tomorrow, and then we're going to reopen it at a later time. We're going to raise the subscription price of being able to follow my trades here in this Discord channel. I mean, it's just been absolutely crazy. So let's go ahead and break down a few trades. The one I want to break down first is actually this last trade we just took, just to show you how simple it is. Super, super simple. So on Euro JPY yesterday, price had gotten into this resistance zone right here. So here's what I do. I go to the weekly and the daily and the 4-hour charts, and I just draw what I think are the most clear support resistance zones. So you can see right here, this is on MetaTrader 5 on my phone. It's just the mobile app. But what we can do is we can go in here to Trading View, and we can go to this right here, Euro JPY, and you can actually see this resistance zone that I sold from. So all I do is I look at the current market price. I use the weekly, daily, and 4-hour in combination. I just try to find areas where I think price had a nice bounce out in the past. So this is really far away, right? Like 2 years ago. But you can see price had a little move right there, had bouncing at this resistance zone. It broke above. For some reason, we had price bounce right here at that zone and go up. And then we also had price bounce here at this resistance zone where I currently sold at yesterday. So price had pushed up there into that resistance zone yesterday. What I did is I just kind of cleaned it up a little bit by just drawing these most recent highs right there. And then here on the 4-hour yesterday, whenever price got into the zone, all I did was I just sold. When price got into that zone and started pulling back a little bit, I just sold here at this resistance zone. And I put my stop loss just above the zone. And then I put my profit target at a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So the trade looks something like this. And then I closed it manually a little bit before the profit target this morning, just to make sure I'd be able to get out. So this is what it looked like whenever I took the trade though. You can see I sold right here. It was a 100 lot total position. My broker limits me to a maximum lot size per entry, so I have to layer the position in multiple positions. So that's why you see 2 50 lot entries, just to make sure that I get filled. And I risked, you can see right here, I put $40,000 of risk. And this is how I call trades in my group right here. I've just put like, hey, I'm short Euro JPY $40,000 of risk, and I just let the screenshots of my actual P&L terminal do the talking. That way, you can just see the pair, the time frame, the zone that I sold off of. Sometimes it's so obvious I don't even have to draw the physical zone. And you can see where my stop loss is, the lot size, the take profit area, the amount of risk. So that way, say you wanted to risk 1/10 of this, right? Say instead of 40,000, you just wanted to risk like $4,000 on this. What you can do is you can just use 1/10 of my position size, so that you know that if I'm using 100 lots total on this, you can just use 10 lots. And if you use 10 lots with the same stop loss and the same profit target, instead of 100 lots, then your risk will be $4,000 to make potentially $4,000 if it hits the profit target. So that's what I did. I called that trade out. You can see this morning at 5:30 a.m., price started pushing down towards the profit target. It was in $30,000 profit. And then what I did is right here you can see I closed Euro JPY here. So this was about 6 a.m. this morning. And I closed it because we got close to the profit target, and then on the minute 15 chart, price looked like it was trying to bounce. So whenever I started seeing all these little rejection wicks down here, that's what kind of told me, hey, it'd probably be a better idea to close this trade. So I just ended up closing it right there. and now it has since gone back to the upside. So that ended up being a good decision. So, I use simple support resistance zones, simple risk management structure. I use my discretion, my experience to kind of help place these trades, but it's very, very simple. I mean, it's buying at support and selling at resistance, basically. It's nothing new. It's nothing magical. It's nothing complicated. It doesn't really require that much know-how or that much of a skill set. I mean, you just have to do the basic stuff over and over. And once you test it out for a while, after about 6 to 12 months, I see a lot of people really starting to make a lot of progress doing this. And, and you don't need anyone to teach you this, right? You don't need me or anyone else. You could just go to the charts, you can back test, you can forward test. You do this on a demo account. Since trading is really risky and since most people lose money, you should be doing this on a demo account when you start. And you can just start buying and selling at higher time frame support resistance zones with a stop just past it and a profit target starting out just a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio. That just keeps it real nice and simple. So price goes down at a profit right here. That was a good trade. So let's go ahead and let's have a look at another one, right? So let's go look at a trade that I lost, which was Euro USD. So I lost this trade yesterday for $30,000. You can see here's my weekly P&L, just so that we can make sure that we're kind of got a good perspective here. I've won every single trade except this one trade I'm about to show you this week, Euro USD. And I guess I broke even on this GBP CAD sell. We'll talk about that one. So if we look at this right here on Euro USD, you'll see the reason I sold was price was at a weekly resistance zone. So we had a resistance zone right there, and we also have a support zone right here. So if price comes down to that support zone, potentially I could buy. It's a pretty clear support zone with the exception of that little wick that pinned really far past it. Aside from that, it looks like a pretty reliable support resistance zone. So if price does end up coming back there over the course of the next month or two, that could be a potential good trade. But for now, I just sold here at this resistance zone because price got into there. So you can see here on the daily chart, it's a clear high. We had a nice bounce away from here. And when price got into there, honestly, I just sold. I just entered a sell at that resistance zone. You can see that was my actual entry right there with a stop loss up here and a target down here. And then I ended up closing this trade just before it got to the stop loss, probably at about maybe 75% of the loss, or like 80% of the stop loss or something like that. So let's look at what it looked like the moment that I called it out. So we're going to go back here, and this is where I called it. So yesterday at 7 a.m. So this is what it looked like the moment I entered. You can see it was about a $30,000 risk for a $30,000 profit, with a little bit more risk and profit to cover the commissions on it and potential swap fees. And I don't really know how else to make it simpler. Price came to a major resistance zone, so I just sold. You can see right here how I called it out, right? I'm short Euro USD, $30,000 risk. So for example, if you wanted to risk only 3K instead of 30K, like me, you want to risk a tenth of it, use a tenth of my position size if you're following these trades in this group. That would be a 5 standard lot trade, you're risking 3K. You want to risk 1,500, then you use 2.5 standard lots. You want to risk, 1,000, you use 1.5 standard lots. You can do the ratios yourself to kind of use an appropriate position size. So initially this trade started going into nice profit. We had a little bit of a bounce there at the zone, and that was really nice. It was in a $10,000 profit. And then what happened is price ended up just shooting back above and breaking above the zone. So you can see I closed it right there, which was about, 80% of the way to that stop. I lost about $26,000 on this instead of 30,500. So I'm closing Euro USD here for now. I'm looking to get in shorts on EJ soon, and we just need pushes deeper into the zones. But that was it. That was Euro USD. I closed it there. That next trade is the one I just showed you on Euro JPY that ended up being a $31,000 winner. So that was Euro USD. So let's keep on scrolling back through here. So this was earlier this week. We're up $31,000. Now I'm up, 40,000 or 45,000 or something. Let's go up here. Okay, so the market is open. This is when the market opened a couple days ago. I said continuing to hold GBP CAD and GBP JPY. These were these trades that I had taken the week before. And you can see right here, GBP JPY started falling into a lot of profit that day. This is a trade I entered on Friday of last week that got closed on Sunday night. It ended up going down. It hit the profit target right there. And you can see the reason I took this trade was because I sold at resistance. That was the whole reason. Nothing complicated about it. So my original resistance zone was right here. I had it thickened up just a little bit to make sure that I was including these highs up here, because it, sometimes price will go past the zone just a little bit before falling. And all I did was I sold at the resistance zone, and then when I sold at that resistance zone, it ended up dropping into the profit target. So the trade essentially looked something like this. It was a sell at the resistance, and the profit target was there, and the stop loss was just above the zone. So this is a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So, and again, my entry was right there, all in this screenshot. So the moment I took it, it looked exactly like this. I sold here at that resistance, see along the highs right there where the wicks are. Stop loss up there and a target down here. The target was about at 200.01, and then it ended up just falling. So this is the beauty behind using like a super simple trading approach whenever you're swing trading, is that you don't really have much work to do. As long as you got a decent amount of capital to trade with, you can look at higher time frames. You can draw very big, clear, obvious support resistance zones where you think price would be likely to bounce at. And then whenever you draw those zones, you can just buy if it's a support, put a stop below and a target at a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio. And then if it's at a resistance zone, you can sell at the resistance zone with a stop above and a target below of a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio. And you can adjust the risk rewards as you get more experience. It's easiest to start with a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio because your win rate's going to be pretty close to 50%. And then you can start optimizing once you get some experience to try to make your average win a little bit more than your average loss. Like closing losing trades maybe a little bit early and holding winning trades to the target, or in some cases, like you'll see here in a second, just holding the winning trades even longer. So we're going to go up further here. I'm going to show you, so this was GBP AUD. You can see that I closed GBP AUD right here, and this was a trade that I took last week. So let's go ahead and let's look at this one. So I had taken GBP AUD, and what I had done is I just bought at support. So you can see this right here is the daily chart, and you can see it's a really clear support zone. So let's go ahead and let's check it out. So GBP AUD, this is what I was looking at whenever price was here at the support zone. Now you'll see there's currently another trade about to set up, it looks like here. But for now, what we're going to be doing is we'll use the replay tool. We'll take it back to what it looked like when I entered. This is what it looked like when I entered. I thought that price might bounce to the upside, and so I entered a long position here with a stop underneath the zone and a target at a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio, right? So it looks something similar to this. And again, this is the exact parameters right there. And you can see the target is actually a little bit further, right? So this is more like a 1 to almost a 1-to-2 risk to reward ratio. I was risking 30K to go for 50K. So it was not 1-to-1, it was a 1 to 1.5. Once you get enough experience, you'll kind of know which trading opportunities will kind of present a little more potential for profit. But you should always at least be targeting a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio, because that, even if you can't trade at all, half the time it'll hit the stop, half the time it'll hit the target. It's roughly a break-even trading approach, and then you can just fine-tune from there, knowing you already have something that is functionally break-even, pre-commissions and swaps, because that'll eat into it a little bit. But it's a very close to 50% win rate, just buying and selling randomly on the chart with 1-to-1 risk-reward ratios. So once you get that, you can start doing stuff like I did here. You see I got in GBP AUD 30K risk for a 50K profit, and then you can see right here it went into profit. I was still holding GBP AUD, started to bounce a little bit. And then I put right here, I'm closing GBP AUD here for now. Looks like she'll be breaking the zone, and this week was a $27,000 profit at that point so far. So you can see I just looked to exit it right there at that zone. And I exited right here at this zone. So it wasn't break even, this was a loss. I exited right here just because price broke that zone, and I didn't think it was going to work out. I thought it was going to go to the stop loss, which it did end up doing. I mean, it ended up, you can look how far it would have gone and actually hit my stop loss. So instead of losing 30K on that, I ended up only losing a portion of that 30K risk, which was $18,000, right? So a little less than 2/3 of what the risk was for that. So that this was all last week. So that was GBP AUD. This was GBP CAD. This was another setup I took. You can see I risked $50,000 to make $50,000 roughly. And let's go ahead and let's look at this here on the chart, because I think this actually ended up playing out so far. I'm going to reset the trading view replay mode. That way we can get it to the current market price. And you can see that price here, if we go to daily, weekly, 4-hour, price is just sitting here at a major resistance zone. So I actually might be getting short on this again, just because I still think it's likely to drop. I just wanted to wait for a little bit better of an entry. So I'm actually going to set my alert here at this extreme high, just in case it sets up maybe today or tomorrow. So I sold there at the resistance zone. When price started trying to go down, but breaking, but failing to break the most recent little support resistance zone here, I thought it might be a better idea to just get out. So I ended up exiting it roughly at break even. But let's look at how it actually played out. So I sold there at resistance. Target was down here. Stop loss was above. $50,000 of risk, right? This is where I called it out at 11 a.m. on that day. Short GBP CAD 50K risk. And then GBP CAD I put still looking good. And then right here, this is where I got short in that GJ trade I just showed you. These started to go into profit. And then right here, you can see where I closed that GBP CAD trade. So I'm going to close GBP CAD here at break even right now. There's no bearish momentum, and I'll re-examine tomorrow. So I ended up closing GBP CAD right here. You can see I got charged, I think a swap and a commission. It was a commission, and then I think it was a swap as well. So even though I made about like $900 on this, which is barely like a couple pips of profit, the commissions had wiped it out. So you can see it's 849 USD on the terminal there because it was the swaps and commissions on the trade. So it was roughly exactly a break-even trade. And that would have ended up being in drawdown right now, right? Because my entry was somewhere down here, wherever it showed in the screenshot. And now you can see it's now pushing back to the upside after failing to break this zone, right? It tried to go down, failed to break it, tried to go down again, failed to break it, came up, tried to go down, and then it still failed to break it here. And now we're just going up, made some higher lows and now a higher high. So we'll see what happens on this one. But it's very important that if you get a trade that starts to not work, if you believe the trading opportunity is invalidated, it makes sense to close it. So I try to get out of trades that are losing a little bit early if I can. It doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes I'll have the stop loss hit, but that's what the stop loss is for. And that's what your risk tolerance is for. So you can risk however much you want. And if it hits the stop, it's not a big deal because it's all part of the pre-planned risk. And if you know your stats, you know you're going to have some losses and some wins and some break-evens if you're managing things manually. All you're trying to do is just make a little more than you lose long term. And you can't predict where the markets are going to go. So that's what we have to use risk management for. Technical analysis is a horrible way to try to predict price. It doesn't give you any type of speculative or predictive power, but technical analysis is amazing for controlling risk. Using things like support resistance gives you a way to say, hey, if price gets to this arbitrary location on the chart that we're just calling a resistance zone on the daily, I can sell right there. And then I know that since this is an area price has bounced out before, if I just put my stop loss past the zone, if it ends up breaking past that zone, then I can just take a small loss and move on to the next trade. But if it does bounce there, then you have a way to kind of structure your entry, your stop loss, and your profit target of at least 1-to-1 risk reward ratio. So technical analysis is amazing for risk management. And the cool part is it doesn't have to be complicated. It's super, super, super simple. I hesitate to use this word in trading, but for me, it is easy. That's the word I would personally use to describe it. I can't say it'll be easy for you unless you get some experience and you're able to start doing this on your own. But for me, it is in fact very easy because the analysis that I do each trade probably takes me about 15 seconds to analyze because I'm just waiting on a clear zone and I set an alert. And then I just go and pretty much chill all day. I go and I work out. I go on little walks with my dog. I hang out with my wife. I go and drive around in my car. I go to the shooting range. I go out to eat. I like to eat really healthy, so we go out to cool restaurants and stuff, and I just kind of chill all day, and I trade probably 1 to 2 hours a day. That's honestly how long it takes, probably 1 to 2 hours. So that's it right here. This is what I do for GBP CAD. So let's go ahead, let's find one more trade. There was one I wanted to show you, which was AED JPY. Let's keep going up through here. A lot of trades. We had a really, really, really good month. I'm really happy about the way things are going. Super peaceful, super chill. So here's AED JPY. So you can see we're going to talk about the entry here in a second, but look here, it hit the profit target for $69,000 of profit after the fees and commissions after swaps and commissions of 2,500 maybe. So let's go ahead and look here where I took this trade. I'm going to show you the full management of it. So I put right here, I am short on AED JPY with the $40,000 risk, everything shown. So this was on September 7th. So this was what is it? It's September 17th. So this was 10 days ago. It's about a week and a half ago. And you can see the reason I sold is pretty simple, right? It's at a resistance zone. So if we go here to AED JPY on the daily, you can see that the location that I sold, the price was literally just at a resistance zone. Now you can see now it's broken past it. This is another reason I like using 1-to-1 risk reward ratios. You can get in and get out very quick. So that way if price just has a little move away from the zone, you're out, profit targets hit, you've made a lot of money, then you can go on with your life. You don't have to sit in trades for weeks and months holding it, trying to catch a big profit target. If you can just take a small predictable move, and it's not a small move because it's daily, but it's a relatively small predictable move, and then you know that like with a high percentage chance, you have a likelihood of coming out in profit as a profitable outcome, and a losing outcome that is either less likely, or a better way to put it would just be like you can manage it in such a way where the likelihood of you making profit or ending in break even or a small loss is higher than the likelihood of you hitting the stop loss. So you can see right here on the daily chart, I just sold, and the trade, it looked something like this. It looked something like that with the take profit above and a profit target at a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio. So again, the exact one was right here. Here's the exact parameters. You can see numerically with the price handles, all the parameters for it. So it entered there, and I did something interesting on this. You see, I started at $40,000 risk, but then when price pushed deeper up into the zone to the most extreme high, I added another position here, and I put a stop just above that high. So this position here represented an additional $5,000 of risk, and what this ended up being is it added $5,000 of risk. So now if both those trades would have hit the stop loss, I was risking $45,000. So the trade started at $40,000 risk. I added a trade knowing I could make like $25,000 to $30,000 if it fell into profit. So I thought it would be worth the additional risk of 40K risk up to 45K risk. For me, it was worth the risk. I don't always add to winning trades, and I don't always add to losing trades, but sometimes I do depending on the context, and it just takes a little bit of experience. So what I put here is I put the potential profit on this trade if it falls from here is going to be 40,000 plus 28,000, because I ran the potential numbers, and if this had hit the profit target, you can see it was a 5K risk for a potential $28,000 profit. So I did 40 plus 28, and I was like, this could make, almost 70K if it works out. And I said, let's see what ends up happening. She's as deep into the zone as we can be. So it's either a bounce here or not. And when we go to the lower time frames, you can see this location I entered at, because my original entry was right there. And then whenever it pushed deeper into this resistance zone, my second entry was up there. And again, with that stop just past the high, which was, it's all in the screenshots I just showed you, but it's something like that, but with the same profit target. You can see the reason I added right there was because price was along the most extreme highs of the zone. And so I thought, you know what? It's either going to bounce here instantly, or it's going to break and I'll be out at a small loss on that. And then maybe I take a 40K loss in the first position, or maybe I close it early at like a 30K loss or something. So the total risk was within the threshold of like $35,000 to $45,000 of risk. I risk anywhere from 20K to 50K per trade right now, just depending on the situation and the context. So this ended up dropping, ended up falling to the profit target, and it was a really nice little beautiful trade. So it started going to profit, 16,000. Then you can see overnight, it just ended up falling from that zone, just dumping heavily, and resulted in this profit right here. So $71,000. And after swap and commission, it was $68,000, a little above that. So that ended up being good. So then we had this trade right here, which was AUD CAD, a sell at the resistance zone, 30K risk for a 30K profit target. This right here, again, you can see how simple it is, right? I just sold at the resistance zone. That's all I do. I don't use anything. I don't use any crazy analysis. I've been trading for years and years. I've been trading for almost a decade now, and I've made millions of dollars doing this. And when you combine Forex and crypto and stocks, I've made millions of dollars in doing just the basic, simple stuff over and over and over again. I started trading when I was 21, and now I just turned 30 a couple months ago. And I mean, it's more peaceful than it could ever be. So AUD CAD started off going nice. And then what happened is it broke above this zone. And you can see when it broke above, as it was headed towards the stop loss, you can see what I did here. I said, I'm going to exit AUD CAD here to 22K loss. So instead of losing $30,000, I only lost $22,000. This is just another example of being able to close losing trades a little bit earlier. Because if you do that, you can get out of a lot of losses sooner than later. And then you can make your average loss smaller than your average win. So there was AUD JPY and then the AUD CAD trade from last week. So then you see that the profit from that week went from $68,000 down to about $46,000 after that loss. So one thing here that's important to recognize is that the wins are always bigger than the losses. And it needs to be that way in order for you to make a profit. And then here's that GBP AUD setup I showed you about. So, I could keep going in here. I could keep showing you all the profits. I could keep showing you everything that we've done. But what I'll do in the interest of time is I'll go ahead and just cut it right here. And I'll just say, if you want to follow some of these results and stuff for free on a daily basis, just join my Telegram channel. I post everything in here. I post the links to the YouTube videos I make. I do market recaps, outlooks, trade breakdowns, things like that. And doing all this, it's, I've made $175,000 in the past 30 days before you factor in those commissions and swaps, which it looks like the commissions and swaps have eaten up. So that will be about $33,000 of profit. So about 30K is what the swaps and commissions have entered. So I've made about maybe like $150,000 the past 3.5 weeks. So pretty much the past month, about $150K of profit just in Forex trading, not even counting crypto trading. I also trade crypto as well. This is one of my accounts that I trade with right here. I have a lot of capital that I use to trade crypto with. I don't have any crypto positions that I'm in right now because I actually think things are going to fall a little bit more. So I'm waiting to go in on some trades that I think would be good here in crypto. But I do the same basic stuff, right? I go here to the chart. I find the clear support resistance zones. When price gets into them, like where I've drawn this blue line here, I buy. And then if price has a bounce, like say for example, so I'm trading here in this account, I have 1.6 million. And then if price does bounce right here, then what it will be is price could bounce here and go up to the previous high, and that'll be a 14% profit. So say I buy like, $200,000 worth of that, and then it goes up 14%. That's a $28,000 profit. So I can make $30,000 just on that one little outcome if it just bounces from here to here. And you'll notice I don't really have to hold things very long. I don't have to hold for crazy huge moves trying to catch the next crazy winner. I wait for price to come to clear support resistance zones. In this case, I could buy like 200K right there. And then if it goes down here into this next zone, then I could add another position there because this is another clear zone. Then if it breaks below, I could just close it at a loss and wait for the next opportunity. So this could be a $200,000 trade right there. And if it goes against me, so that would be 7%. So that'd be about $14,000 of loss. But then I can just add $200,000 there. And if it just pops up from here to this next entry, then I can close that 200,000 in profit at an 8% gain, which would be 8 times 2, 16. So $16,000 profit. And I can also close my initial position at break even. Or what I can do is, since I think some cryptos like these are going to be going up much higher, I can just hold them both a little bit longer. And if they go up here, like that goes to there, that'll be a 22% profit on 200K. So that'll be $44,000 of profit. Plus we had this original one here, which was like $28,000, $25,000 of profit, right? So it would just be a lot of profit, right? And that's just one potential trading opportunity. You can get so many trading opportunities, whether you're trading Forex or cryptocurrency and stocks, and it's all the same basic thing, right? It's just waiting for price to get to a super clear support resistance level on the higher time frames like weekly and daily and 4 hour. And then when price gets to those zones, you just buy. And then if it breaks below, you just close it at a loss. And then if it bounces, then you close it at a profit. And it's super, super simple. It's actually more fun than what I've seen a lot of other trading approaches are. And it's just been something that's been able to make me so much money and change my entire life the past decade. I've been profitable for like 7.5 years now. So we're coming up on almost 8 years. And I've been trading for almost 10 years. So it took me about 1.5 to 2 years to get profitable. But trading this way has completely changed my life. I've experimented with a lot of trading approaches over the years, and I've consistently found that this works best. Just swing trading higher time frames. And again, whether you're doing Forex or crypto or stocks or futures or commodities or whatever else other assets you want to trade, there are so many tradable assets, but all of them function around the same general basic idea of support resistance. Price comes into support resistance zones, and then it either bounces or it doesn't. And you buy at support, you sell at resistance. And if you just keep doing that over and over, structuring your risk based on whatever it is that you can afford to lose, you make some money when you're right, and then you lose some money when you're wrong. And as long as you make a little bit more when you're right than what you lose when you're wrong on average, then you end up making a net profit long term. It's really beautiful. It's really great. So what I'll tell you to do here is I'm going to put this link in the Telegram channel. You can only join it through the link because it's a private channel. I've got like, what is this, like 58,000 members in here. So I've got 50,000 members in here who've been following my trades and analysis over the past like 7 years or so. And you can just kind of follow my trades in here just for free. You can follow all the stuff in here that I post. So it's just here to help you. It's a resource I've had for free for like the past 7 years. So feel free to join that at that first link in the description. I hope this video was useful. I usually don't like to ask people to like or comment or subscribe on my videos, so I'm not even going to do that for you. If you like this video or you want to subscribe, that's up to you. But I'm going to keep posting more videos like this on my channel as time goes by. So I will see you in the next video, my friend. I hope this was really helpful, and I hope to see you in the next one. Cheers.